So here is my 2006 Ford Explorer Eddy Bauer V8 that I bought a couple months ago. I paid $1,300 for it, and it has 340,000 miles on it. Now, obviously, with that many miles on it, it is not in the best of condition, but it doesn't have a lot of damage on it. Obviously, there's some trim pieces missing on it and whatnot, and there are some scrapes and dings. The previous owner did have kids, so that is very evident. But the main thing with this truck is that it never was really maintained. At least it hasn't been maintained as of probably the last few years anyways. It does have a junkyard engine in it. I could tell because on the valve cover it has a stock number on it from wherever it was pulled from. But as far as I know, the transmission is still original. And if you notice, there's a video on the channel of replacing the fluid on the transmission because it was having a little bit of an issue with a bump into first gear when it comes to a stop. That has improved after I changed the fluid in the filter. But as far as the condition of the truck, it runs and drives. I mean, I would trust it just about anywhere. Well, I shouldn't say that. I would not trust it going from here to California or here to New York. But everything works on it. Runs and drives good. The four-wheel drive works perfectly. I mean, it would probably do great in snow. There's no snow here, which is very evident. You can tell this has always been a southern truck. There is absolutely no rust anywhere on it. Not on the rockers, not under the doors, not on the frame, not anywhere. Dirty, but no rust. I can even show under on the control arms here, and gotta love a southern vehicle. 340,000 miles up north where I'm from in Minnesota. This would be completely rotted. Probably would have been off the road years ago. But it does come with a hitch. I have not towed with it yet, but I will be soon. I gotta fix my driveway, grade it, so I'm going to be renting a backhoe. Supposedly this tows 7,200 pounds, and that's impressive thing about this. I was actually going to get a GMT 800 truck, like a Tahoe, because that tows, from what I read, 6,800 pounds, and this one tows 7,200 pounds. So it actually tows a little bit more, being a smaller SUV versus a Tahoe. And this also has more power. I believe the 5.3 with the GMT 800 trucks from their time had about 285 horsepower, 275, 285. This has 392. This does have the 3-valve 4.6 liter, not the 5.4 liter, but the 4.6 liter that the Mustang GT had from 2005 to 2010. And this had it from 2006 to 2010 before they went to the front-wheel drive. Now, being the Eddy Bauer, I can show you. I'll start it up here. Starts right up, no problem. It does have a screen. Now, a lot of people think that this vehicle was not ever offered with a touchscreen, but this absolutely was offered with a touchscreen. And yeah, this is not a satellite navigation. This is back in the day when you had to put a disc in. But you can go through the menu. And it's kind of surprising that this does not have the satellite, because if you go through and look into the system info, it'll actually show the latitude and longitude, and that does change when it drives. So it is running off of a satellite. So I'm just kind of surprised, with the GPS location there, that there is no satellite navigation. But as far as the features of what this vehicle has, it's got the memory seats for both driver and passenger. It's got heated seats, which they both work for passenger and driver. Has a dual zone climate control. I did have to replace the passenger side blend door for the heat, and I also had to flush the coolant out of the heater core because it was completely plugged up. It just looked, it was like mud coming out of there. Like I said, this vehicle has not been maintained at all. The transmission fluid that came out when I changed that was really bad, and you could tell on the oil dipstick there's some, you know, kind of some tarnish on there, so you know the oil hasn't been changed regularly either. But shut the door here. Surprisingly enough, it does not have a check engine light. I did have to replace a fuse. This was running really bad when I first got it, and it ended up being fuse 42 was missing, and it was causing all sorts of problems. This has a dual runner throttle body, and it was only revving up to about 3,500 RPM, so it wasn't opening both throttle bodies. It was only opening one to the runner. So it opens up, I think it only opens up two or halfway until it reaches a certain throttle position opening, and then it'll open up all the way. But yeah, if you're missing fuse 42, then you're going to throw a bunch of codes for your evap, your O2 sensors, your throttle position sensor, your MAP sensor. All that's going to be, that all runs off of fuse 42. I put that back in, and it tripped again, and I found out when they put the junkyard engine in here, the O2 sensor wires are supposed to have a conduit over it, a metal conduit. So I just wrapped them in aluminum foil because that had actually melted the wires on the hot exhaust. And I wrapped that in aluminum foil, and I haven't had an issue with that popping since. But as you can see, almost 340,000 miles. Yes, it is not the vehicle for gas mileage, but it does run great. So some other features this has, obviously back in the day, they had the CD player. There was no Bluetooth or any sort of hands-free calling at that time yet. And then in the back, it does have the drop-down DVD screen. I have not looked to see if that works. It may work, it may not. And here's kind of like the same system that the Chevrolet has, auto four-wheel drive, and then it has the high and the low. That all works perfectly. Yeah, here it is, the 4.6 liter 3-valve. Once again, it's got 292 horsepower. I thought that all the Ford Explorers from this generation, from like 2001 to 2010, I thought they all had the 2-valve with the 4-speed automatic. But I was kind of surprised when I was looking for these. I was actually researching them, and I saw that it had the 3-valve and also the 6R60 6-speed automatic transmission. So that makes a huge difference in terms of power, and probably helps with the towing too. And that's why I thought it was a good deal to get for $1,300. Even though it has a ton of miles on it, I'm happy it runs and drives these days. $1,300. You're lucky to get something that runs and drives, but it runs and drives good.